Okay. So I recently went back to a vegetarian diet. I was hardcore vegan for 14 years. And I had just massive amounts of energy. And the catch was I wasn't able to sustain sufficient muscle mass to hold this frame aright. So posture wasn't great, so I just needed to up my protein substantially and just do more load-bearing exercise, which was an incredible formula because I put on 30 pounds and it felt great.
Wow.
Now, the other side of it is when I eat a massive amount of animal protein like I was doing, and it was what I consider to be the elite, like elk and bison and venison, that I don't find that I have quite as much energy. That kind of protein ain't fuel, it's restorative. And to break down that kind of intense protein, it takes some work for your body. That's why if you do have animal protein in your diet, end of the day food. When you're laying down sleeping, that's when the body's doing its restoration. Again, protein's not fuel, it's restorative. When's your body restoring itself? Exactly. Because a lot of protein, especially animal protein, can make you tired. It can make you tired. Not everybody. Every body type is different. I mean, look at the Eskimos. They subsist on whale blubber 3 meals a day. I'm wondering where there's like this hiding volume switch. I mean, this is a perfect soundtrack, but I'll just have to talk a little more whiskey. That's okay. It's fine. And I'm glad I did it. And now, since then, I've just learned more how to alter this vegetarian diet so that it really does give me the substantial protein that I need to just keep things right with my body.
So you're not going to eat, now you're going back to not eating protein?
Well, I eat a massive amount of plant protein.
Okay.
And it took some new figuring it out to make it work for my body type. Some people, they can go to a vegetarian diet with incredible flexibility, no problem. Again, everybody's body type is different. It's tough in this day and age, especially in the Western world where we're just this giant melting pot of different body types where, again, like in Antarctica, they all eat the same. In Bali, they all subsist on rice and lentils and vegetables and a tiny amount of beef. And so you really got to just try it out and see which foods make you feel the best. But I do believe we have this built-in instinct. We do. Our body, from our ancestral lineage, adapted to a particular diet that was most akin for us. And so here, while you're at the ashram, I really encourage you to just be aware of what foods you like the most. I mean, all the food here is great. I mean, it's organic plant foods from our garden. You can't beat that. And I want to talk about that because that's really changed things here since we actually started growing our own food. And I'm not saying you have to do that too, but I do need to talk about just how to shop a little differently. But going back to what I was saying is where a lot of people run into trouble who go vegetarian is they just start eating a massive amount of carbohydrates, just too many grains, lots of bread, pasta, and all things of that nature where they're just getting exorbitant amounts of fuel that they're not doing enough exercise to burn. So vegetarians can sometimes gain weight, not lose weight. And so the thing to do if you go vegetarian is just to have more plant foods, which can be a good thing because, I mean, plant foods just have less calorie density. So that's my diet now. I just eat I don't do great on grains. My body just doesn't, quinoa is okay. I mean, a little bit's fine. But now I just have to eat massive amounts of plant foods. So, which is great also.
Plant foods meaning what? For high protein.
Well, I don't have as much protein as I otherwise would. But, I mean, truthfully, and I'm not bragging, I drink a massive amount of my protein formula. I swear I'm being truthful. And it's been a bit of I couldn't do it without it. And it's a plant protein. It's just sprouted hemp, basically. And I'm sure I could do it otherwise, but I'd probably run into the same situation as before, where, again, I just lose too much weight. So, but I mean, not everybody needs to drink protein powder. No. You can do edamame and tempeh. Tempeh is just the soybeans fermented. It's the whole soybean. I think that's cool. I'm wary of doing too many soy products because soy, especially processed soy like tofu and soy protein isolate, those can alter your body's chemistry a little bit if you overdo it, and they're not very nutritive. So that's the other side of the animal protein, is you gotta fill the gaps with zinc and B12 and magnesium, which is totally doable with plant foods. You just have to do the right ones. I mean, it's a whole science. It really is. But I did just do an article about it, and I can send that to you too if you want, about the whole vegetarian versus meat eating thing, the pros and cons of both. Not saying people need to go vegetarian, because again, it just doesn't work for everybody. Some people just really have that hunter-gatherer lineage where you hear of all these different diets, like the meat-eating diet now is the paleo diet. Seems to work for some people. I was on that diet. Again, for me, it has the pluses and minuses. I'm able to maintain more mass, but I don't have quite the same energy vitality. So, yeah. I don't think that this program would be... I don't think you could do quite what... I think because you are on a vegetarian lifestyle here, it does just give you a massive amount of energy that, again, remember the protein is restorative, but not only are you getting just more of the carbohydrates and healthy fats. Hang on. Stay with me, ladies. Stay with me. That's okay. So here's the real key behind this diet that enables you to do the impossible. I mean, just consider for a moment that you are hiking 65 miles in a week. That would be the most hiking I've ever done. And then on top of that, 2 exercise classes, 2 yoga classes, a pool class. Are you kidding me? It blows all our old theories out of the water that you have to have this many calories. Yes, calories are fuel, but the nutrients that you're getting from these plant foods, that's life force. These nutrients, what they're doing essentially is triggering every organ and function to operate at its elite level, which just makes your body able to do more. It's as simple as that. And the reason why you kind of feel like a natural high here, it's breathing a bunch of O2 and getting sunshine, but when all these things are working better from getting the nutritive support, it's taking care of this. This is the core of your health, your brain. This is all taking care of this. And when this works better, you just have more of like a clear sense of like perspective on life. That's why you go home just kind of feeling like, aha, I kind of get it now. Where before, when you come here, there are just so many burdens on the mind of all the fires we have to put out in the world of business and in-laws and things of that nature. And you go back with, I feel, a very clear perspective. So
what proteins do we just consume in this meal?
Well, yes, the sprouted garbanzo beans. It isn't massive, but it's enough. I don't think this diet would work for more than, say, a couple weeks. I don't.
Well, some of us are having eggs every morning, so we get more protein.
Yes, I think eggs are an absolutely genius food. I think it's a superfood. I'm a huge fan of eggs.
You eat eggs?
I eat a massive amount of eggs.
So what's up with the whole cholesterol thing?
Okay. I want to talk about the fats. Before, I want to just talk about one more thing, sort of the back door, the secret door behind this diet that allows you to do the impossible. It's the green foods in your salads, green drinks. Here's what it is. Chlorophyll is what makes all the living green things out there green. Kale, arugula, chard, spinach, parsley, cilantro, basil, blue-green algae. Chlorophyll is basically Mother Nature's #1 detoxifier. It literally sucks toxins out of your body. Nothing else does it quite like chlorophyll. And where are those toxins stored? Where are the majority of toxins stored in the body? Fat cells. You knew. And that's why it's your body's self-defense. That when there are toxins in your bloodstream, boom, fat cells suck it up to protect all of these sensitive organs. Okay? Does that make sense? Toxins are a lot of wear and tear on all this sensitive stuff. Again, it's your body's natural self-defense. Suck it up, get it out of your bloodstream. That is why Even though some people do an exorbitant amount of exercise and eat relatively healthy, there is stubborn fat in these places where they just can't seem to burn it. Your body is extremely reluctant to burn that fat when it would just be dumping those toxins back into your bloodstream. Okay? So with your plant-based diet here, an exorbitant amount of green foods, you're sucking that toxic material out of those fat cells. That's what chlorophyll does. Now your body's like, oh good, fuel. Fat is fuel. That's all it is. Fat is fuel just like carbohydrates. That's why people can subsist on a low carb diet.
So eating the dark greens,
yes,
triggers the fat.
Yes, it's chlorophyll that's this negatively charged molecule. That once it's flowing through the body, it bonds to heavy metals, it bonds to metabolic waste from too much processed food, it bonds to acids, it bonds to stuff that you've been breathing and drinking that isn't the ultra pure. And here's a perfect model. A perfect model of exactly what's going on in the body is the planet. 2 billion years ago, nothing could grow. It was too toxic from acid rain and volcanoes and meteors and things of that nature. And then this stubborn substance, blue-green algae, started to grow. Boom. It created an atmosphere. Even today, those greens, blue-green algae, these greens create 60% of our atmosphere. And the way that it worked, again, it sucked up that toxicity and somehow recycled it into oxygen and built our atmosphere. Same thing is happening in the body. It's one of those miracles of nature. We just don't understand how that really happened, but it did. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here without it. So, lots of green foods.
Bad stuff. If you eat some of the good stuff, it kind of helps cancel it out.
Well, I think it would, quite frankly, I think it would suck if we just had to eat salad all the time. I mean, it's balance. You don't want to, I think what we're looking at is the majority of your lifestyle here. More plant foods. What are you shopping for at the store? What are you making at home? Okay, like approximately 70% of your lifestyle. Is it going to make you unhealthy when you go out with friends and just eat whatever you wish? No, I don't think so. I do. You know, if you're too stringent, I think that has kind of wear and tear on our just peace of mind in a way, which I definitely found to be true for myself when I used to be more hardcore back in the day. So, massive amounts of green food, green drinks, things of that nature, because again, oh, and you know what? You don't have to be eating salad all the time. We sort of have our secret recipes here. Like tonight, you have the spinach and kale pesto. Have y'all ever had that before? Where literally we just throw a massive amount of raw spinach in the blender with lemon juice and olive oil. It's the easiest recipe here. Boom, it takes just a few minutes. And it's basically just making this raw green sauce. So there are different ways you can do it. Again, you're not always having to just munch on chopped up kale. Throw it in the blender. I am a huge fan of not just doing smoothies in the blender, but just throwing raw vegetables, particularly greens, and making dips, sauces, pestos, dressings. Does that make sense? So you'll get that recipe. Do take home an ashram recipe book, so you can especially do that one. And again, you don't necessarily have to eat a salad. If you're just having like a bowl of soup, just grab a big handful of arugula and just eat it. It tastes great. You don't have to make a salad. You don't have to pour olive oil and lemon juice all over it. While that's great, just eat the dang stuff. It tastes great. Or a big bunch of dandelion or kale. It doesn't taste bad. You don't have to somehow like dress it up and mask the flavor. Just eat the stuff. Easy. Easy, easy. And you know what? I don't think there's anything greater you can do for your diet than that one simple thing. Because here's the big diet protocol. It's easy to forget. The big picture, pull the funk out, put the restorative in. And greens are the most powerful thing for doing that very thing. Instinctively, we know it to be true. Any kind of green food.
So who's even like iceberg lettuce and stuff like that?
Well, the darker the green,
yeah,
the more chlorophyll. What are your darkest greens?
Yeah, really.
Kale, yep. Spinach.
So who's healthier? The vegetarian that has the right balanced a set of meals, or a non-vegetarian that has, the properly balanced set of meals? Is one particularly healthier than the other?
Well, it's really all a matter of what foods you're swapping out. again, there's the compromise of less protein. So you just really need to subsist with more of these plant proteins like edamame, like healthy unprocessed soy products. Okay, tempeh is another one. You can do dairy. I am a total believer in eggs. I think eggs are an amazing food. I have 6 a day. They don't affect your cholesterol. The cholesterol in eggs don't affect the body's cholesterol, just like fats, the right fats don't make you fat. It can have the opposite effect. That eggs, so what raises your cholesterol? Saturated fats. Not that all saturated fats are bad. It's important to have some in the diet. But eggs have less than 1 gram of saturated fat. That ain't nothing. So
you eat the yolk as well when you eat?
Oh yeah, it's a perfect food. I really believe it is. I mean, that's the life force. That's the vitality. That's the B12 and magnesium. It's a very nutritive food. And scrambling's cool. I prefer over easy, over medium, because then that yolk is less cooked.
And coconut oil.
Yes, and that's an important thing to talk about. Let's talk about fats, because that's part of the whole vegetarian meat eater equation, depending on which way you need to go, is that we really need to have adequate amounts of the right fats. And there are, as we know, 2 main categories. There's the saturated and the unsaturated. And actually, you do need both. I know back in the 90s, we thought all fat is bad. And I'll talk about why, but what happened when we all went to this low-fat diet is everybody got fatter.
Yeah. Yes.
And here's the reason why. Here's the biological reason why, is it's fat that satiates your appetite more than anything. That and the nutrient-dense foods, because your body's starving for the nutritive support. But it's fats that give you, boom, the quick satiation because, really, in a way, it's the most important calorie we put in the body. Why? Because of this. The brain is made of fat. That's what the brain is made of. Again, why we all got cranky and tired is because this thing was suffering. Also, why is fat so important? The other reason is fat-soluble nutrients. Pretty much every nutrient is fat-soluble. What that means is you need adequate fat in your diet for that nutrient to be metabolized. Otherwise, it can just pass right on through. You can have massive amounts of a particular nutrient. If you don't have adequate fat in your diet, you can become a little low in something. So 2 categories of fats, and you got to have a little bit of both. Unsaturated. It's all about going with the elite unsaturated fats. I would consider those to be olive oil, raw nuts and seeds, and avocados. And there are others. You're allowed some flexibility. But what happened back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, is that we discovered, wow, there are really low-cost alternatives. You can create oils for pennies. That was canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower, soy, and corn. Very cheap alternatives to the more elite. And so the catch, the way those oils are cheaply processed, is they go a bit rancid. And when oils go rancid, they fall apart in a way, it creates a kind of free radical that, when consumed, irritates your thyroid. Your thyroid's like a metabolic gauge. When this thing's irritated, it alters your metabolism. Metabolism can go down, and we know what happens after that. So we really need to have the elite fats, and that once you have those elite fats in your diet, it's quite hard to overdo them. It really is. It really is. And here's the thing. I talked about how fats satiate. Adequate fats essentially protect you from overeating. So compare 100 calories of olive oil to 100 calories of crackers or bread. That olive oil is going to satiate way more. So when you have adequate fat, at the end of the day, you will be able to subsist on fewer calories. Does that make sense? It's quite hard to overdo it.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to overdo it.
And I've been reading that coconut oil in the diet is very helpful for brain.
Exactly. It's interesting that a coconut is shaped like a head, even with 2 eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And other high saturated fat foods like macadamia nuts. Now, saturated fats, some saturated fats in the diet are important, but it requires a degree of moderation just because saturated fats raise your cholesterol. Even though it's a cholesterol-free food like coconut oil, it raises your cholesterol. Now, for people like us, 1 to 3 tablespoons, is that going to hurt? No. 1 to 3 tablespoons a day, that ain't going to do any harm. Now, if you're suffering from some kind of heart disease, yes, cut saturated fat out for the time being, until your body's balance returns. So, the reason saturated fats are also important is they're the only ones you want to cook with. Like, that would be I would consider the best to be coconut and butter or ghee, because they're heat stable. Saturated fats are heat stable. Remember I talked about those unsaturated cheap alternatives as being heat sensitive and they become rancid? Same thing happens to any unsaturated fat like olive oil, like pasteurized and roasted nuts and seeds. Those oils become rancid when cooked. I know the Italians cook with olive oil. Every body type is vastly different. They seem to get away with it just fine, but cooking with olive oil regularly isn't a good thing. It really isn't. Have your olive oil raw. If you like it with your cooked foods, steam your vegetables or steam your quinoa and then add it. I mean, you can have it with hot food, you just don't want to cook with it. It really is heat sensitive, and it breaks down in a way that, like those other cheaper oils, it's going to become irritating for your thyroid, where those saturated fats are heat stable. That's why instinctively we like to cook with coconut oil, your eggs, or stir frying, or baking, or whatever kind of cooking you're doing. Do it with the heat stable oils. Again, they don't break down. I think butter and ghee are awesome foods. I really do. There's some kind of animal dairy product has been in the human diet all over the world for tens of thousands of years. Again, it's a saturated fat, so it needs to be taken with moderation. But if and when you have dairy in your diet, the whole stuff, whole milk, whole yogurt, the whole low-fat dairy thing, we shouldn't even call it low-fat or skim milk. We should call it lactose concentrate. And that's why people are becoming lactose sensitive, especially in the last decade. Because we're just drinking lactose concentrate. The milk sugar is the part of the product that just doesn't digest very well. And it's become concentrated because we're taking a huge volume of the drink out, that being the fat, which, again, I consider the fat in dairy to be the best part, because it's a brain food. Again, it requires a degree of moderation, so the trick is the whole dairy and just less of it. You don't need as much because the fat is the part that satisfies. You know how when you eat one of those low-fat yogurt things with the sugar at the bottom?
Yeah.
You eat one, you're like, dang, did I eat anything? Have the whole stuff and less of it. You'll be a lot happier. Again, if you're dealing with some kind of heart disease or seriously high cholesterol, and you have to have dairy, fine, do it for a period.
Billy, what about, I have a 11-year-old who drinks 6 glasses of milk a day.
For kids, the more the better.
Cold.
Yes, butter is a perfect food for kids because their brains are growing so fast. It's a brain food. If you don't have butter in your diet, have some other healthy saturated fat like either coconut or macadamia nuts. So. And chocolate.
Chocolate.
Do you eat cheese? Much cheese?
A little bit. Too much cheese it's a little it can stop up things. So, but I think yogurt's an awesome food. Whole yogurt, less of it. It's important.
And do you like Greek yogurt? Or
Yes. Yes.
what brand do you eat?
I was all about the Fage. I know you are too, but I switched to just organic whole yogurt. This stuff isn't certified organic. Anything with animal products, it's more important than ever to just stick with the elite. Just organic in general. Just the amount, the level of GMO it's just gone away from us. Not only just the quantity of GMO foods. I mean, now
GMO?
Genetically modified, and so approximately 70% of the foods in the world are genetically modified. Now, it's genetic modification essentially started happening 100 years ago when we were just mixing different foods and hybridizing products, where it was more of it wasn't the chemical thing like now, injecting things with viruses to really alter the genetic code of things. Where, the whole idea is just to grow things faster. That's it, and it really alters just the nutritive value, and it's just not stuff that the body has adapted well to. And so I'm pretty adamant about that. I mean, is it going to hurt to eat just regular foods from time to time? I don't think so. You know, this body's a pretty sturdy thing when it's healthy. So. What else do you want to talk about? Alcohol? I wish I had a perfect answer for you.
Makes you feel good.
Do you drink?
You know, I've had a bit of this, I've had a bit of this, a bit of that, but you know what? Doesn't work with my body. It's sad but true. I really can't have any mind-altering substance at all, or my health gets a bit screwed. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it has its pluses too. I have to live somewhat of a stringent lifestyle protocol, diet, exercise, rest, meditation, sleep, all the above, because of a particular malady I've been suffering with for the last couple decades, a head injury. A head injury caused these scars, which led to epilepsy, you know, just seizures every day, which was quite debilitating. And so I did everything. And then just basically over the last decade, a very stringent, healthy lifestyle evolved where those scars aren't gone. And I wish I could say I was totally healed, but I am most grateful to say that my symptoms have become so mild, the seizures are so infrequent, and they're so mild, you wouldn't even know if I was sitting here except I'm silent for about 5 seconds, which isn't bad either, because then people are like wondering, whoa, what's he thinking about you? So I have to live quite a stringent lifestyle, which is what my knowledge came from, and then we basically just apply it to you guys. I crashed a go-kart. I wish it was something a little more romantic, but it happened when I was a young kid. So.
Any surgery involved, or just?
I looked at it pretty seriously, but the doctors were like, "Man, I don't want to. It's you know, deep in there. It would be quite a thing, and I don't think I need it anymore. But if my lifestyle gets off track, then." Boom, it comes back. Mm-hmm. It can come back real quick. And the reason alcohol doesn't work for me is because it's a blood thinner, and this thing is sensitive to that. You know, you don't want blood thinners because then, I mean, it can, in theory, bleed. Yeah. So kombucha's cool. You know, a couple % alcohol. I make my own. I make my own kombucha.
What's that?
You get a little bit of a buzz from that. Kombucha is. So kombucha, the store-bought kombucha doesn't have any alcohol anymore. When it originally went on the market like a decade ago, it was made traditional style, and it had alcohol in it, but nobody knew. And then the FDA caught it a few years ago, and they're like, this stuff has alcohol in it, and so they pulled it. And now they brew it in a way where it only has a minuscule amount of alcohol, but it ain't the same. You know, it's not quite the same experience. So, but now
it never is.
So kombucha it's a fermented tea, and so what you do, it's just basically tea and sugar. It's tea and sugar, and then they add this mushroom culture to it. And it eats up all the sugar. So you brew it, and then you put this mushroom culture in there, and over the course of a week, it eats up all the sugar, and produces the kind of fermentation so that there's bubbles and a little bit of alcohol. And then you bottle it. You put it in a bottle and dump an extra teaspoon in there, cap it, and put it in the pantry again. And I make mine so strong that, well, sometimes I'm a little nervous picking up a bottle because. But it's quite fizzy, and I like it, and it does have a very small amount of alcohol, so, you know.
And sugar, so you eat sugar.
Well, but the culture eats up so much sugar that there might be a couple grams in a whole bottle, where before you added like a whole cup of sugar to, you know, it's about a cup of sugar per gallon, but the culture eats it all up. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, yeah. It's quite nice, and you can get it at the store, yeah.
But the store doesn't have alcohol.
No. Sorry.
Well,
I don't know. I think a little bit of alcohol is okay. It ain't going to hurt anybody. I mean, shoot, it helps you relax. It's a little bit of a blood thinner, which for many people can be a good thing. I don't think it's going to hurt. It can get away from us. You know, it has its addictive qualities.
Mine is sugar.
Yeah, sugar is we should talk about sugar.
Yeah, let's talk about sugar.
Because I got some answers for you.
Okay.
And the reason I'm buzzing about sugar is actually because I'm sending out an article about it tomorrow.
Okay.
And so sugar. So there's good news and bad news. You got to have it. That's the good news.
I know, I gotta have it.
So here's why. Law of human biology is we need glucose, which is, boom, instant brain fuel. Fat and carbs are fuel, but it takes hours to be broken down and converted into fuel. Where, like, when you wake up in the morning, instinctively the body wants sugar because, again, it's instant brain fuel. It doesn't take any time to be broken down to be glucose for the brain. And so here's the trick. What is the secret? The secret is to keep your sweet tooth happy with the elite sugar. With the elite sugar.
What's the elite sugar?
Fruit.
I gave up sweets during Lent, which meant all sugar.
Right.
Except fruit. I ate tons of fruit.
Yes. And see, some people just instinctively, they need more sugar.
I do.
They need more sugar. So, keep your sweet tooth happy with the elite, which is fruit. And why not go for the elite fruits, which I consider to be berries? And pears and apples and watermelon, they're all great too. The reason I consider berries so good is because of the nutritive value. You know, it's the color that represents that they're very nutritive. And they're also what are called lower glycemic, which means they just metabolize a little more slowly. Blood sugar doesn't go up and down like with tropical fruits like bananas, pineapple, mango. They're considered high glycemic, which means, boom, they burn up like that. And they can be a little imbalancing. But here's the secret for that, is to have fruits with protein fats. They combine beautifully together.
Peanut butter and banana.
Instinctively, that's why we like things like dried berries and nuts and seeds, yogurt and fruit, almond butter and apples, or peanut butter and bananas, or banana splits. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Yeah.
So,
I eat peanut banana before I go around.
So, regular fruit. First thing in the morning, the body instinctively loves fruit. That's why I'm a huge fan of smoothies. Is you're having the fruit, you're throwing it in the blender with protein fats, yogurt. Throw your nutrients in there. Throw your greens in there. Now, we have created a well-rounded meal. We're getting, boom, the instant fuel. It's sustaining. And it has the nutritive value. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And it's easy to digest. It's a liquid. So, again, protein fats, like yogurt, nuts and seeds, almond butter. The two go really well together. And then there's the category of processed sugar. And try to stick with the elite processed sugars, which would be honey. I wouldn't call honey's kind of in a separate category because it's not processed, assuming it's raw. It's just, it's extracted out of the hive just as a whole food. And I put honey at the very top because it has, in order to be considered elite, it has to have some nutritive value, which honey is stimulating for the immune system. So that's good, assuming it's raw. Now it requires some moderation because it is high glycemic and it's concentrated sugar. So a tablespoon or a slightly round tablespoon of sugar, okay, you're all right. Have it with honey. Or have it over nuts and seeds. Put it in a smoothie. Now we're talking. I also put maple syrup up there. It's tree sap. It's processed, it's boiled, but it's tree sap and it's mineral rich. And then there's sort of the middle of the road processed sugars, which definitely need to be consumed with moderation, that don't have any nutritive value, like agave nectar, coconut sugar. And then there's the whole cane juice. They call it sucanat. It's like brown sugar, but brown sugar is just white sugar, and then they add the molasses back to it. Where the sucanat is just the whole cane goo, just dehydrated and then ground into a powder. No nutritive value, but it doesn't have the wear and tear in the body that processed sugar and high fructose corn syrup can have. And we really do need to avoid those. They shouldn't really belong in our homes, and okay, fine, if you're at a little like tea party or something, have a little whatever, but because you've had some regular fruit in your diet, like a smoothie in the morning and an apple with almond butter in the afternoon, you've kept your sweet tooth more happy, so you're less akin to letting it get away from you when there is a whole tray of cookies there, and for it not turning into a landslide of just, eating a pound of sugar. So.
I could eat a pound of sugar.
You could eat a pound of cookies, that's the problem.
Yeah. Well,
Fruit.
very good.
Yes, when you're craving some sweets. But again, the reason you're going toward the cookie,
Because you need the sugar.
and your body wants something with the sugar. I mean, who just has a tablespoon of sugar?
Well, that's true.
That's why people love chocolate. They're getting those good quality fats. That's why you got to have your sugar with protein fats if you really want it to satiate. Fine, have a piece of fruit by itself. That's great. I'm not saying that's bad. But have something soon after that. Because it won't sustain you. Sugar burns up quick. You're going to be hungry 10 minutes later.
So agave nectar isn't bad, there's just nothing good in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's processed sugar.
Okay, is it?
A little bit. Is it going to be bad for you? No. Use it as a sweetener
Okay.
to make something healthy, palatable. Like a smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like honey, if you don't want to throw a banana or mango in there, fine. Put a little agave nectar in there. But with moderation.
Okay.
Really, sugar and fats and plant foods are the things that I wanted to cover most. And people milled out, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, we could talk about
Yes.
food all day.
Yes, we could.
Benefits.
But after hiking, you guys want to just go lay down and put your feet up. I don't
I
blame
still
you.
need to go take a shower.
Thanks, Billy.
You're welcome.
Thank
Good to
you
see
very
you.
much.
Too.
And I forget everybody's names. I know I recognize you. Danielle, we probably hiked together years ago, skipping down the trails.
But not in the last couple of years.
No.
Last year, about a year now.
Okay. Yeah, well, everybody's looking healthy. Keep
And
it
I'm
up.
Sandy.
Sandy?
I've been here a lot, but I haven't. It was a while that you weren't around.
Yes.
But you were
Yes.
here last year. So.
Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Missy, you know me.
What?
Missy, you would know me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cause
Missy. Everybody knows Missy.
Yes, we communicate.
We do.
Yeah.
I always order Billy's greens. And almonds.
I'm going to get some of your almonds. Yeah, where are your almonds?
You got him big on the green.
Oh, yeah? Great. Very good.
He buys it on your website.
Cool.
Because he has the green grapes with vodka.
With vodka?
Adding the greens in, no, I'm kidding about that. After the vodka, not together.
Gee, that'd be interesting.
So, Billy, I haven't gotten your newsletters lately.
Really?
No. I stopped getting them. I don't know why.
It's
I used to get
possible that
them,
they could be going to your spam
spam?
folder. Not likely, but possible.
I'll have to check that. But why would they all of a sudden go to spam?
I don't know, but write down your email and I'll
Okay.
add it again just to be
Okay.
safe.
Yeah.
Because I've been sending one every few weeks.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten one in months and months. Come to think of it. All right. How's Bear?
He's so
Is he
good.
great?
Yes, he's my best friend.
I bet.
He's great. He is so great. Such a well-trained dog.
Aw.
Just very chill, very
What kind is he
sweet.
again? I forget.
He's a white golden.
That's right.
And he's huge. He is a
Huge.
massive dog.
Is he?
Yeah, he's like 120 pounds.
Wow. You can feed him a lot.
Yeah. Were you here the week when he jumped on the table and ate somebody's sushi and then went and jumped in the pool?
No.
Yes, that was it. That was
You had
that's
him
when-
here when he was a puppy.
Okay.
And he was all over the place.
And then everybody would love to have him here.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So
that-
he jumped on the table, ate some sushi,
and then jumped in the pool. And that was it. He was banned.
He thought he was a guest.
He thought he was. Oh, that's so cute. So I guess you don't bring him anymore.
No. He's happy. He's home.
That was really fun.
Not at first.
Well, I couldn't laugh. It's like a child, you know. And when the guy said, mind if I have some sushi? He ate 2 of mine, and I didn't know it at that point.
Oh, you thought he was just asking for seconds?
Well, he stood up. He came over here to where the guy was, and he stood up. So I just thought the guy was patting him. I didn't realize he had, like, in one swoop, had sushi too.
It was pretty epic.
That's so funny.
It was great.
He was hungry.
Yes, guests are not happy when he jumped in the pool and there was dog hair.
Oh.
You know, but the guy's sushi that he ate, he was really okay with it.
Yes.
You know, he was going, don't get upset with him. It was okay.
Oh, it was comical.
It was really.
Oh, everybody was laughing.
Oh, it was hysterical.
Who's that?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good.
But
Young puppies, they just don't know any better.
he did it so fast.
Oh,
Billy
yeah.
walked in the front door. He had already gotten here, ate it, and went and was
Oh, in the pool already?
He was like so fast. It was like I barely saw just this light go through him.
I did it before Billy came in the door.
And I thought, Billy, get your dog.
Yes.
It was pretty fun.
After it happened.
So much.
After the drama, we just stood back and we're like,
Never-
actually, that was
I've
pretty
never
funny.
forgotten it.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Cool, we packed
So I
it
think
into
tonight,
40
you guys
minutes.
Remember, I need some smooth move tea.